Let me know who you guys want me to do next. I might do some non-hip-hop albums as well. I'm thinking of doing a Radiohead. Nas.
Bro, you gotta do Nas.
It's gotta be Nas, bro.
You gotta do Nas. Nas.
Taylor Swift. I should have seen Nas being the one everyone wanted me to do next, but I didn't expect that video to blow up in the way it did. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that watched the last video, commented, liked, and subscribed. Honestly, it means so much to me. We're gonna keep these coming. We've already broken the 500 subscriber goal, so now it's road to 1K. So let's make it happen, people. Let's make it happen. But here we are. We done Jay-Z. Now we gotta do the rival, Nas. So listen to every Jay-Z album, and this is what I thought. No, not Jay-Z. Not Jay-Z. Oh, my days. I listened to every Nas album, and here's what I thought in a tier list. So, Illmatic. I mean, where do I start? I mean, it's not gonna lie, little bro. Come on. Pick up the pace. I mean, what are you gonna say about Illmatic that we haven't already heard? Pick up the pace. Come on, let's go. Come on, what are you gonna say? I mean, it's Illmatic. Like, it's nothing. One of the...
Actually, Illmatic is one of the most influential.
We know, bro. We know. Go ahead and put it in S, and let's keep this thing moving. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got time. We ain't got time, and no one really wants to hear what you have to say about. Okay, well, let me. So it was written. I mean, what a worthy follow-up to Illmatic, to be honest. I think one thing that I really get drawn to about Nas is just how poetic this guy's pen is, man. He's just so creative, and I like the way that on this album he was still able to step himself up in a way from Illmatic and create some concept tracks like I Gave You Power, rapping from the perspective of a gun. And fun fact, that was probably one of the first songs that kind of really got me into hip-hop. Incredible track. I think he's got some hits on here. If I Ruled the World. He's got some iconic songs with The Message. It's just got everything you want from a hip-hop album, especially one from the 90s, all condensed into one. Easy yes. This cover is so goofy. What was he thinking? It's a cool album. I think obviously there is a decline in quality on this album. Front to back, you're gonna have some mid and some skips here. But that doesn't mean to say that there are some good tracks in it. I mean, it opens up with New York State of Mind Part 2, which is a perfectly great song. I mean, there's that whole scheme where he was kind of counting down how many friends he had in like the first or second verse. I can't remember, but that was tough. You got Hate Me Now. Nas is like, and the closer, which is super bittersweet, is Undying Love, which is another storytelling cut, which is kind of bleak to end off the album on, but I mean, Nas is super vivid with his pen, so it's a great closer. And then you got Kissing. I mean, yeah, there's a few mid tracks in here and whatever, but all in all, I don't think this is a bad album. I just think this is significant decline in quality. I'm gonna say B tier. I mean, this one pained me to go through front to back, man. This one was... Look, there's still good songs on this. You have... okay, Paul, let me just say something before I get onto those songs that are good. I felt like the energy was lower in this. I felt like he was... Like, you can hear he's not trying as much on this one. But, you know, there's still good songs. Like Life We Chose. That's a good song. Project Windows. You know, that's a great song. Project Windows. Out of my pride. Like there's some good songs in it, but some of the other bad songs are kind of irredeemable, bro. Like, what was the one that was Big Girl? That was awful. Yeah, I'ma just put this in D. Like, I'm sorry guys. He finally made a new album cover. Like, shout out the pigeon on the album cover too. Shout out that pigeon. I mean, Stillmatic, like, I mean, what can you say? This album is quite eventful, if anything. It kind of kicks off even with a diss track, and that's not even the only diss track he's got in there. Like, he's going at people. It's kind of got a new sound compared to the last two projects. He sounds like Nas is completely revitalized. He's giving you everything as well. He's kind of polishing up on the hooks that were not great from the last album. His verses are better. He's giving you better storytelling, and he's got a song called Rewind where he tells the story so vividly of a situation that happens backwards. I just feel like his pen was just better. Like, I don't know what he did. He just locked back in, because like some of these hooks, like even he like writing, I know like when Nas writes his own hooks, but they be catchy, bro. Like, hold on, holding. Wait, is this what? I got a bunch of bullets and I got them cause I'm ready for the niggas come out. I could put that better, but my niggas come out. Great. I love Stillmatic. I think almost every song on here hits. I think the last few songs kind of trail off for me, but it's an easy yes for me as well. So during the Stillmatic era, and I think I Am as well, he had some of his tracks leak, and so some of them didn't make the tape, but eventually they saw the light of day in this album called The Lost Tapes. And technically I guess it's like a compilation album, not like a full like assembled album, but this is one of my favorite Nas albums. You can't sleep on this one. You generally can't sleep on this. This is somehow so cohesive. Minimalist production. You got some beats from Kanye, from The Alchemist on here. Like, it's low key, literal like piano keys on the beats. Everything's just nice, subdued, and Nas just seems very like locked in, a bit intimate as well, reflective, reminiscing. It's just a really great project, and it's crazy to think that these are called The Lost Tapes. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he should lose more tapes, because this is actually S tier for me. This is one of my favorite Nas projects to just listen to front from back. Durags, Purple, like every song I have every song off this album saved. I love it so much. It's great. Now, up until this point, I don't think stylistically Nas has really done anything that is different until we get to God's Son, right? I feel like God's Son was the first album when you hit play and it's coming with a different energy. From Get Down, it's a different up-tempo vibe. The production is a lot different on this type of album, and you're getting a Nas that's almost giving himself his own knee-jerk reaction to some of his old music he's put out. He's very spiritual in this. He's kind of taking on this like mantle of being the voice of his generation, the voice of where he comes from, the voice of people in ghettos, people that are going through struggle. You really feel like he's championing this crown, like God's Son, like the album saying. He also touches on like his mother passing away, so you can get the vibe that this album had a lot of emotion and weight behind it, and I really like it for that. It's a much more engaging listen, and I think it's probably like we're like quite a few albums into his discography now, and it's nice to hear him actually do something a little bit different sonically. I think this is a great album. I mean, from track 1 you've got Get Down, which is literally one of like the most known songs, but then you've got tracks like One Mic where he's really like he makes it like a showstopper track. I think God's Son is A tier. I always dread it. Like, I remember when I was doing Blueprint 2, I dreaded hitting play on that one because I was like, there's no way this is going to be good. And that's the same when I looked at Street's Disciple. I was like, there's no way this is going to be good. It's too many songs, but he almost had it. He almost had it. Disc 1, good. Disc 1 is good. If Street's Disciple was just disc 1, its placement might actually be considered somewhere different. But the whole of disc 2 is just, bro, we like Nas be having sex. Like, I okay, like I get it, man. You be smashing, like I don't know. Like, I just felt like disc 1, content matter wise, he was talking on a lot of cool stuff. These Are Our Heroes is like one of my favorite Nas songs. Like, he's talking about, you know, black influencers, saying like so much cool stuff. It's like a cool song, and I felt like disc 1 again, he's got this mantra like he's kind of kicking knowledge, you know, he's talking about shit. And then disc 2 is just kind of like, I guess it's the more fun disc. I just don't care for it, man. I didn't save any songs off of disc 2, so I can't really say that I'm gonna rate this too high because half of the album is basically nothing to me. Now, I know this one kind of gets a little bit shat on, but I was kind of confused why. I know the title might be construed as corny to some people, And I guess in retrospect, when you look at the era this came out in, hip hop was definitely transitioning or in the middle of a really weird. So for Nas, basically a legend in the game, to come out and say it's dead is quite the statement. Does he do much with the concept of hip hop actually dying and what's happening? I mean, he touches on it on some songs, but there's no like resolution. It's more just these new guys are disrespecting the culture, which I mean it's a fair bit of commentary, but there doesn't really seem to be much resolve other than Nas still kind of just doing his thing on it. I do enjoy quite a few songs on here. You got Carry On Tradition, Money Over Bullshit, Black Republican, used to see the Jay-Z and the Nas crossover, but I don't know if it's like one of his best, but it's definitely not one of his worst. Like, it's still a decent listen. You're gonna get some tracks from it, you're probably not. By this point, I also want to say you're either a Nas, Illmatic and It Was Written Nas fan, or you're just here for the journey. Like, you just enjoy Nas for a rapper, and I like Nas as a rapper, so even when his output isn't amazing, he's still going to deliver because he has a great pen. Oh man, I'm sorry to any self-titled fans here, but I did not enjoy this one at all. I did not enjoy this at all. I thought that some of these tracks were way too overproduced. Like, none of these beats for me were hitting at all. I respect the content matter. You know, again, Nas really seems to be at this point in his career adopting this mantra of like being super conscious. He definitely doesn't want to double down on like the stuff that got him flack on Nastradamus and I Am. So he's like kind of gone completely in the other direction. But with that, the music just ain't hitting here, man. Like I said, I respect what he's saying here. It's very black, and I trust me, I'm for that. But bro, like, the music kind of gotta be there, you know what I'm saying? Like, the music kind of gotta be there. It can't, like, we get it, but like, it's gotta be good. So, sorry. Distant Relatives, this is an interesting one because it's a very cool fusion between like mellow, chill, jazzy hip hop, and you've also got like reggae because you got Damian Marley, and I did quite enjoy this album. I thought that some of the tracks were quite long, but I think that's because they want to lend more to the reggae style, and there's a lot of just musical vibe into it. Again, very heavy on the content matter here and spreading a good message, being very conscious, and I for the most part I like it. I respect that this album did something a bit different compared to some of his other ones, kind of in the same sense that Godson, he tried to do something sonically different. So it's a good album, it's a nice listen. I think that his pen here was at points a bit more direct, so you're not really getting poetic Nas, but I'll take it. I'll be so honest, I thought this was going to be a shit album. I thought this was going to be shit. And the reason I thought it was going to be shit is because this album cover sucks, bro. There's something about this that just like, the album cover just makes it look like this is not going to sound good. But you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. So on Spotify, there's two different versions of this. There's a 14 track one and there's a 17 track one. I'm going off of the 17 track one. And I even found that there's another, I think, which was probably a bonus track online. So I think Life Is Good in total had about 19 to 20 tracks on it, if we're counting all the other ones that are on all these other different versions. And if I'm counting that into the review, the length kind of worsens it. I feel like for the most part these are some good songs, but as an album it's a bit like not I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's also nothing that is great about it as a full listen. I'd say it starts off really well. You have the first 6 tracks, which are all really good. Then it goes into a lull, and then it kind of picks up again near the end. Track with Amy Winehouse, that is a timeless song. Timeless song. And it really speaks to, you know, both artists that actually had a relationship. So rest in peace, Amy Winehouse. And big up Life Is Good, because it's actually a pretty good album. I wanted to like this so much more, especially when it came out. I was so excited to hear that we're finally getting a Kanye produced Nas album. But man, okay, so here's what I proposed for this album, okay? The first 4 songs, bin them, like, keep them vaulted, okay? They're not bad songs, but I would say if I was curating this album, especially if it was Kanye and Nas, you open with the last 3 songs. Everything, Adam and Eve, and Simple Things. Those should have probably been the first 3 songs, and then give us 4 other songs, like, and go like pick off them. Oh, my light went off.
Broke nigga alert. Broke nigga alert.
I must just still say, pick up off the momentum off of that, basically. But yeah, the last 3 songs are the best ones, and leaving off on Simple Things was just a bit weird. It felt like there was more to that song, but it just kind of trails off, or like it should have led into something. So yeah, a little bit mid, I'm afraid. I should like Lost Tapes too a lot more, because like you're looking at, like, you got production from Swizz, RZA, I think Alchemist, the production, Pharrell, like the production credits are crazy on this album, but for some reason I just can't get into this. Like, it's just okay to me. I don't know what it is, it's just very okay to me. I'm willing to maybe admit that this might be one that grows on me, but I just couldn't get into it. I'm just not into Lost Tapes 2 at all. Maybe because I hold the first Lost Tapes so high, I can't get into it, but I'm sorry, Lost Tapes 2 does nothing for me. I mean, he won a Grammy for this one. He won a Grammy for this one, man. Like, King's Disease, first of all, this is his best album artwork. Can we get an applause for Nas on actually having a good album cover for once? I mean, he's got a few. Bro, my light.
Broke nigga.
Great album cover, Nas, and great album. Sonically, sounds fresh. Him and Hit Boy locked in, and I think they made a really great album. I think this is the first time Nas has gone over like different styles of production, especially modern sounding production. So a little bit of trap flavor, and it doesn't sound corny. In fact, it sounds really good. Songs like 27 Summers are great. Replace Me with Don Toliver, I think, is a great song. There's just a lot of good stuff in here, especially the closer, Spicy, with Fario 4 and an ASAP Ferg. If you would have told me these lot would have made a song together, I'd have been like, that's gonna sound incredibly corny, but it's hard as fuck. That's a great song, worthy of its praise. I think this is close to top tier Nas in my opinion. I thought I liked this one a lot more than I originally did, but I came back and re-listened to it, and I don't think it's better than number 1. I think it's okay, but it's not better than the first one in my opinion. I still think there's some great hits on here, and the energy is up. I think a lot of the tracks are different tempos, but ultimately I'm gonna place this below the first one. Bro, something about Magic when you hit play on track 1, there's just some the Magic series, in my opinion, kind of was better than the King's Disease series. There's something about Magic that I just really like. Every song on here is great. I think the instrumentals are all really heavy, and he plays into them really well. And I also like the fact that he actually lyrically plays off the fact that it's called Magic. He's got some bars in here where he's like being witty about like magic tricks and stuff like that. Again, pen is super sharp, everything about it is great. I think he went 9 for 9 on this one. Honestly, this is top tier Nas. This is an album that I would say you gotta listen to. For me, it's a must listen. So that is S tier. I think it's unanimous that King's Disease 3 is the best one, and in my opinion it's my favorite one out of all of them. So varied production, the energy's great. You got some beat switches on here, like at the end of, I think it's Michael and Quincy, there's a beat switch at the end of that kind of switches up and goes faster into this kind of trappy beat, and it's just crazy how smooth and effortless and clean Nas sounds on this production, man. He almost just made an album that is 17 songs just feel so smooth and cohesive. There are like some songs I don't really rate much in here, but for the first like time listening until now, I've been spinning this. I keep coming back to King's Disease 3. I think it's great. I also like that with this whole King's Disease era, and even with Magic, you're getting Nas from this new perspective. You know what I mean? Like, this is a Nas that is not in the middle of his career with all these other albums we've spoken about, and he's not at the start of his career. Like, he's not Illmatic Nas, he's not It Was Written Nas. King's Disease and Magic Nas is a really mature Nas that is telling us stories about the rap game, about life. He's got this balance now of being this conscious rapper, but also someone that's telling us about his experiences in life as well, telling us about like him and Puck back in the day, him and Big. Like, there's so much knowledge and stuff that you're only gonna be able to get from Nas in this album. So in my opinion, incredible. King's Disease 3 S tier, and just big up Nas in this era, this like mad renaissance where he was just churning out albums. And I think, sorry to keep rambling, but I think something that people get misconstrued about this era of Nas is that, oh, like, it's a bit diluted. It only feels diluted because of how quick he was dropping them. But if you come back and you live with each of these albums, I promise you there is quality within each of them. The beat on what this really means is probably one of my favorite beats Nas has rapped over, bro. Like, there's just something about that beat that is just like, it's just so, it just hits you in your core. Like, you just feel it. And like the way he's like rapping about like the day you retire, and like all these lyrics about just like reminiscing and thinking about what it really means. It's just such a great song. I think that is probably one of my favorite Nas songs. Honestly, you got other songs on here like Pistols on your album cover. You got One Mic, One Gun, which is showing Nas embracing the new school. Him and 21 make a banger, and again, sounds good. I come back to this song a lot. Like, it's not corny, it's nothing. It's like, at this point in his career, it feels like whatever he is attempting to do, hook wise, pen wise, narrative wise, it's coming across a lot like cleaner. It's effortless. It doesn't feel like he's trying too hard. Like, this is the great Nas that we heard from Illmatic, and it was written just in this new revitalized form, and I think this is like, again, some of his best work. Finally, Magic 3. I know a lot of people kind of don't rate this one a lot. I actually have a lot of songs saved on Magic 3. I think that if I was to give one bit of criticism to Magic 3, it would be that his pen feels a bit more direct, and like there are some notable like more on the nose bars, you know, like I think he's not as highly focused as he was on every single other project, like Magic 1 and 2, King's Disease 1, 2, and 3. This one is a bit more casual, but there's still a part of me that really likes this album because it's just super digestible and super listenable. I mean, sure, it's not him at his top of his game, but you're still getting good production, you're still getting good songs, and to be honest, it sounds great. It still sounds great to me. On the ears, it's something you're gonna still want to come back to. You get that kind of Nas in his old discography, but the problem is it doesn't sound as good as this, in my opinion. So I still rate this kind of higher, but I will acknowledge it has flaws. And I'm back. The light is working, and that is Nas. Tell me what you think about my Nas rating. I don't know if I've given any hot takes or said anything that is super debatable, but I know that Nas, like Jay-Z, has a lot of diehard fans. I'm a huge fan, to be honest. I really like the way he raps. I like the way he storytells. I think he's super vivid, he's super poetic, and he's probably got one of the coolest flows in hip-hop. Like, Nas just sounds sick over a beat, in my opinion. But if I had to now give the final discography score out of 100, I think I'm gonna go with an 85. I'm gonna give him an 85. It's quite a high score considering he's got some misses in there, I'm not gonna lie, but his highs, like Lost Tapes, Illmatic, It Was Written, all the Magics, all the King's Diseases, Stillmatic, like the highs are so high for me in terms of like what I personally will always have in my rotation. So that's gonna be about it. Let me know who we doing next. Leave ones that are not just rappers now. We need to kind of break out the rappers bit, but we'll still do rappers, but let me know what you think. Please subscribe. We're going to try reach 1,000 subscribers, and yes, take care guys, peace.